Hi guys, so today I wanted to do a quick video using gel and nail tips. I realized going through my playlist that I don't have one where I use just nail tips. So I'll just go over some of the products that I used in the video. That way if you guys have any questions, hopefully I answer them. So first I use these tips here, and these are from Sally's Beauty Supply. I also decided to use a corresponding glitter with those. So the glitter that I chose to use today is Recollections Peacock. You may also want to use a tip cutter. If you don't have a tip cutter, you can always just use a fingernail clipper. I also used a cuticle pusher and orange wood stick. You will also need some files and buffers depending on what you like. So this is a zebra one, this is a 180-100 ASP, and these are just sponge buffers in fine and extra fine. The brand is Sand Turtle. All of these came from Sally's Beauty Supply. The brush that I'm using today is this one here. This is my favorite brush. This is from e.l.f. It's for $1 and it's actually a concealer brush, but it works really well for gel application. The gel that I'm using today is Diva DC. This is the Builder Gel. I do have a full review on this if you want to look that up. But it's wonderful gel. You do need a UV lamp or LED lamp to cure this one. The primer that I use today is Something Wonderful. This is from naillightinc.com. I also used ASV Prep and Clean Dehydrant. This is from Sally's Beauty Supply. The top coat that I used is Axiom by OPI, and this I pick up on Amazon. I also just used some 90% rubbing alcohol to clean and sanitize. You can also use something like this. This is just the ASP antibacterial spray. And then the glue that I used today is just this one from Beauty Secrets, and this again is from Sally's Beauty Supply. You can pick that up there. Now in the video I do not show how to prep your nails, so if you need more information on that you can go down below in my description box, and I will have a couple videos there on how I prep my nails. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the tutorial. So you want to go ahead and make sure that your nails are completely prepped before you start your tips, and that your nails are clean. You don't have any dust on your nail plate or anything like that. So you just want to make sure that your tips are going to fit from side to side, so when you're looking at it, it meets the very end of your nails. And that you're not having to push it down really hard to make it fit. Okay, so as you can see, that one fits. If for whatever reason there's a little bit of hangover, you want to just make sure that you file that here on the sides. So this one fits pretty well, so I'm going to go ahead and use that. Today the glue I'm using is just Beauty Secrets nail glue. So right there in that little well, that's where you're going to go ahead and put your glue. You don't want to put too much. So usually just one drop, and then I like to distribute it. And I just run it side to side like that, and actually that's a little too much, so I'm just going to tap it on my paper here. And then you just want to make sure that you're lined up and that you're straight, and then go ahead and press down. And you want to hold that until the glue sets completely, and depending on your glue will depend how long you have to hold it. Okay, once you got your tips in place, you just need to decide what length you want your nails. I'm going to do mine pretty short today because of work. You're just going to go ahead and use your cutters and try to cut a straight line. You can always clean up afterwards and take off length if you need to. So for me that's even too long, so I'm going to actually take off just a little bit more. And then you're going to go ahead and use a file to clean up your sides if you need to. Make sure that it's flush with your nail on the side here. And then same thing on the other side. The more cleanup that you do now, the less you'll have to do when you're completely done. It's just a time saver. So I'm going to go ahead and do all that to all the nails, and then I'll meet you guys right back. The other thing I'm going to do, because I am going to be adding glitter to this set, is I'm just going to slightly remove the shiny layer off of the nail tip. And actually I'm going to use a buffer to do that. It's just quicker. And of course if you are not using glitter, you can totally skip this step. And then once you've done that, you just go in with your rubbing alcohol and just give that a quick spray, and then remove any dust from the nail plate. So I do want to add a little bit of glitter to the tip, so what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm just going to take a little bit of the clear gel on a clean brush, and I'm just using a lid here, Anything plastic will work, it doesn't have to be. And I'm just going to kind of guesstimate how much gel I need to finish out, you know, 10 fingers. I don't want to waste, and you really don't need a ton. So I just have, as you can see, 2 good dollops. I mean, it's not very much at all. And just to be safe, I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit more. So I have that going here, and then I just have some blue glitter that kind of corresponds with the color of the tips here. I'm just going to use a clean cuticle pusher, and I'm just going to put a little bit of that directly into it. And again, you don't need a ton. 1 scoop should be enough, but once I stir it up, I'll know for sure if I need to add any more. And I'm just going to take an orange wood stick and just kind of mix those two together. So I just have a couple pieces of paper towel. I'm going to go ahead and spray that pretty liberally with rubbing alcohol, and that's just to switch between the glitter gel back to the regular gel when I get to that point. So I'm going to go ahead and clean off my brush. I'm going to pick up a little bit of the gel, and you can see you really don't need very much at all. And just on the very tip of this nail, that's where I'm going to apply that. So I'm just pushing that down, pushing it all the way to the tip, and then I'm just pulling that forward and making sure just to coat that whole area. Once I'm happy with that, I'm going to go ahead and cure for 60 seconds. Now you may need to do 2 coats of the glitter depending on how opaque you made it with how much glitter you added to the gel. So I'm going to go ahead and cure that and see how it turned out. So once that's come out of the light, you can go ahead and prep your nail plate. I'm using ASP Prep and Clean Dehydrant, and then I'm also using Something Wonderful Primer from naillightinc.com. The ASP is from Sally's, so you're going to go ahead and apply that to the nail plate, making sure not to touch the skin. And then I'm going to go in with the Something Wonderful Primer. And you can do 1 to 2 caps depending on what you feel comfortable with. And of course, if you have a different primer that you use, by all means use that instead. I'm just taking my time making sure not to touch the skin. So now you're ready to go in with your clear gel. If you're using pink, you can also do that. And then you want to make sure that your brush is completely clean after doing the glitter mix. So I'm just going to take my brush, dip into my gel. And the first bit of gel I'm going to use isn't going to be very big at all. I'm basically just going to do a coat from the very end of the nail all the way up. I'm not worrying about building up the actual body of the nail as of yet. So I'm going to go ahead and place that in the center-ish of my nail. And then I'm going to use my brush to push that to the cuticle, but not touching it. And then I'm going to walk it to the other side. And I'm never picking up my brush. I'm just using the tip of my brush to pull and push that gel. Every time you pick up your brush, you run the risk of making bubbles. So you want to try to eliminate that as much as possible. And like I said, this layer we're not worrying about building up the nail or anything, we're just getting a nice even coat on the actual nail plate to the tip. So once you have that on, you can go ahead and cure that for 30 seconds just to kind of flash cure it. So I'm going to go ahead and start building up the stress area of the nail, which is right here. And that's where your nail should really be the thickest. So I'm going to go ahead and grab another ball of gel, and I'm going to place it mostly where I want it so that the volume is right there. And then just like before, I'm going to go ahead and walk it side to side, but I'm going to steer clear for right now of the actual cuticle area and lower part of the nail. And I'm just going to concentrate this particular bit of gel right in this area. Making sure to get the sides, and then I'm going to give it a second to kind of self-level. So that's what I have so far. I'm going to go ahead and pop that into the light, making sure that nothing runs into my sidewalls or cuticle. So I'm just going to keep repeating these steps until I build up the nail to where I like and get the shape that I like. For the final cure, I am going to do a full 3 minutes just to make sure that everything is good and cured. And depending on the size balls that you take, you know, that's going to determine how many times you need to pop it into the light. I typically do 2 nails at a time when I'm working on myself. For the final application of gel, I'm just going to make sure I push it back to the cuticle and I bring it forward just to smooth everything out, that I don't have any divots. I'm also going to look at it from the side and see where I need to build up. So as you can see in mine, I have a bunch here at the tip and I have a bunch here, but in the center I'm lacking, so that's where I'm going to concentrate putting more. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, do the final cure, and then I'll meet you guys right back. So once you've done the final cure, you need to take off the tacky layer before you file. So I use 90% alcohol. You can buy that at any drugstore, and then I just use a piece of paper towel. And you just want to make sure you take all that sticky layer off. Now once you've done that, you can just go ahead and go in with your file and shape your nail to the shape that you like. Making sure to get the side walls and the tip. And then if you need to do the top, you can go ahead and go in and do that. You want to make sure that you're sealing around the cuticle so that you don't get any lifting. And what I mean by that is you just want to run your file along the back to make it a smooth transition from your natural nail to the actual gel. I then like to go in with a sponge buffer. This is just a sand turtle from Sally's in fine, and just go and make sure to get rid of any of those deep gouges that you did with the actual file. And then once I've done that, I like to go in with a super fine just to make sure I get it nice and super smooth. So you're going to go ahead and go in with your alcohol one more time just to clean up any dust that might have happened. And you just want to make sure you look it over, make sure that the shape's okay, that you're happy with it. Once you are, you can go ahead and apply your gel top coat or regular top coat depending what you're using. Today I'm using Axiom from OPI, and this does need to be cured in a UV lamp. This one's my favorite. It's actually one of the most shiny top coats I've found. UV lamp, so I'm just going to start at the back and pull that all the way forward. Making sure not to touch the cuticle or the side walls, because again this can cause lifting if you do. And then I'm going to make sure to cap my end. And I'm going to go ahead and cure that. And for the last time, now this one does not have a tacky layer when you pull it out, so you can just pull it out and be done. I'm going to go ahead and cure that for 1.5 minutes. Finish up my nails, and then I'll show you guys the end product. Okay guys, so this is the final product. Now please remember that depending on the gel that you're using and the lamp that you're using, your times may change as far as curing. So just make sure to adjust that according to your manufacturer's directions. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and leave them down below. And as always, thank you guys for watching.